All right.
We are on
Sorry about that.
Facebook.
Video is freezing up. We don't know why. Internet, maybe. Who knows? But sorry if we lost you. We're back. We'll let you rejoin.
Yeah, people are hopping in.
Sorry about that.
Brad, you were talking about. Thanks for hopping back in, people. Brad was just talking about what our first album purchases. You had a little tale to that story.
Yeah. So I guess we were good on audio. Probably it sounds like.
Yeah,
but,
the whole way through audio
good,
stage.
So yeah, Beastie Boys' "License to Ill" was my first like real purchase on my own. But Jeremy, you mentioning that Bengals 45 that you had, reminded me that one that I had early on, and I don't know, I'll have to go back and check the dates on it, but "Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone" by Glass Houses, which featured Bryan Adams as the guest vocalist. They were like Canadian.
I remember the song for sure.
Like great song. And on the Canadian channel
song, Joe.
that we used to get, there was like a music video show that was on, and like
your profile.
they would get played like every time.
And drop you in like that. I got the screen up so that people can see it.
Ooh, they're gonna look at those searches.
I don't think so. That's just fine. I don't know. There's nothing in there that they can't see. Jennifer on YouTube likes that tune.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she said. Bryan Adams, for sure. I had some Bryan Adams albums when I was a kid. We were just talking about how, that Bone Thugs record being the first one I purchased. But everything else, like, I took from my siblings or whatever. Yeah.
Is this it?
Is this that?
Nope.
This is not it. What's going on?
Should be that one there. There we go.
I just clicked on master.
I'm into this already.
I got lured in. Oh, yeah, you know this song, dude. I think as long as we talk over this and don't directly stream it into YouTube, we'll be all right. But we're referencing this. You know this.
We roll Motown records.
Right up your alley, Joe.
We'll put the speakers in the window and we'll go on the street and listen. This is fucking Rod Stewart, bro. It's the same song.
Nice try.
It's the same tune, bro.
I understand that the chord changes are similar.
No, you got to hear the tune.
I know the tune. I know the tune you're talking about.
I mean, I don't know this song. This is a great song. I'm into it. Because I like that Rod Stewart song.
Yep.
So, when did this come out?
80-something.
80-something,
This was in a lot of movie
86 maybe?
soundtracks around this era for sure. Oh, man, they make you wait for the chorus.
Yeah, hit me, God.
They make you wait on that chorus.
Gee.
Can't get away with that shit anymore.
Can't give away Bryan Adams' guest vocal too early.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can't play too much of that. We'll be struck down by lightning.
I'll have to give that a more in-depth listen.
It looks like Jennifer's saying 86 is when that came out.
86.
Yeah,
So
pretty
born in 86. I definitely didn't hear it when it came out.
Your mom was cranking this up.
Yeah, in the birthing room. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that would explain a lot because there's a lot of aspects that I just heard in that song that I love. So that would make great sense. Yeah, I like that. Jeremy, you got a question? I got a couple. Oh, we got to talk about Diane's question.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
a question for you.
let's
I
do
for
that,
sure want to hit that one. Diane would like to know, and the people in general, wide, would like to know how you came about to be in Soul Asylum.
That's a good question. So I've known Michael for the longest now. I got to know Michael because Michael became aware of me. Michael is the type of dude who knows who's in the Twin Cities, who's playing what, who's in what bands, who's making records, who's working in studios. He just has his ear to the ground. He likes to know who's around. He heard about me because I was working with a girl named Kat Perkins, had a band called Scarlet Haze. It was like kind of a modern rock record, modern rock band. We made a record together. Her band started kind of crumbling. She wanted to keep going. She had written a song with another guy, blah, 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 blah. She ended up making a record with me, and at the time I had a partner named Fluff. We were making records together. He was kind of more of the engineer mixer, and I was a little more of the producer, and we were kind of doing the tag team production thing, or a two-guy operation. Anyway, Michael heard about the Scarlet Haze record and was like, okay, so this dude JT co-wrote the record, played drums, bass, and guitar. Like, who's this dude or whatever? And he liked the Scarlet Haze stuff or whatever. So he hired me to do a session, like just to come engineer him playing drums on a session. I guess that went okay. It was a busy session though, so we didn't really get a chance to talk very much. So then he hired me for a second session over at a place in town called Terrarium, and I engineered again, and that was a little bit less busy session, and it wasn't attended by the artist. We just had the files, and it was me and Michael, and I think Sonny was playing bass. Might have been one other guy there. But it wasn't so busy, so we got a chance to talk or whatever. And it was the first time we hung out, and it's funny because later on, many years later, fast forward, like Michael was like, yeah, man, it's good we had that second session because the first day, like, we didn't really get to hang, we didn't really get to talk. And he's like, you know, you didn't really say much, big, tall guy, whatever, low voice. I didn't really know what to make of you, man. You know, he's like, it was a good day we had that. It was a good thing we had that second day to actually chat because otherwise it was just kind of like business as usual. And I came and went and was like,
you were just the guy. You were the engineer.
I was just a guy, you know, which I get. But anyway, so I kind of knew Michael. Jump back over to the story. All of a sudden I found out that Soul Asylum was in need of a guitar tech. I had been kind of off the road for a while. The last band I was in was done touring or whatever. I had kind of quit the And We Danced band, which we've talked about and showed some music on the show. I was playing a little bit. I actually ended up playing drums for Kat for a little while. She was on a show called The Voice. I did some touring with her for a while. That was doing its thing, running its course a little bit for me or whatever. Anyway, the Soul Asylum guitar tech thing came up, and I was like, oh, that could be interesting. And I've loved Soul Asylum. And I know Michael a little bit because I've done some sessions. Maybe I'll check that out. So I went to some rehearsals, and that was right around the time Ryan was also trying out for the band. Like, I think he was maybe first or second time he was there rehearsing. All of a sudden I was there, and I was just hanging out. And like, I remember he hadn't gotten the gig yet. He knew me as another guy in town who played guitar or whatever from Attention, and he had his band Melismatics. And he walked in, and he was there to try out. He didn't know why I was there, and he like looked over at me, and we hadn't seen each other. I was like, "Oh, hey, dude, how you doing?" Like, "Oh, good to see you." And then like I could kind of see the shift on his face. And he's like, "So what are you doing here? You know, like, are you here to try out on guitar too?" Like, oh, you know, like. But anyway, long story short, I ended up being Dave's guitar tech for a while, and then started filling in for some rehearsals, and there was some recording sessions that got booked here to start working on the Hurry Up and Wait record, in which I ended up getting kind of tapped to do those rehearsals, and I ended up doing some of those sessions, and just, all of a sudden I've been around for 5 years. I've been in the family or whatever, and I'm just kind of worming my way in there, and now I play bass when I can, and that's how that happened, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you guys know that or whatever, but yeah, for those who don't.
Yeah, but like, I don't know that I've ever heard it told in
sure.
kind of linear fashion like that.
Right. Yeah. I love I remember specifically when me and Michael were talking about, so I guess maybe someone else asked us how we met or something, and I remember him being like, "It's a good thing we had that other session, man."
Right.
I remember being like, "Man, it is a good thing," because like, now me and Michael are like, but we're really good friends. We're best friends or whatever, and it'd be funny to think that like we could have just done that session and went our own ways or whatever. And now it's funny because like Michael goes around and like talks shit about how I'm good to people or whatever. So I'll meet people like, "Oh man, Tapero, Michael Bland says you got the best drum tones in town, man." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like, shit, better live up to that if you hire me.
Those samples are tight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, funny, yeah. So yeah, and I love those guys. I'm lucky to know them, and I love getting a chance to play that music. And
Diane says you're the kindest man. You were the kindest man when you guys first met, and I feel like she's got to be mistaken.
A while. Once you get to know me, I'm a total prick, but I hide it well for the first little while. These guys can attest, though. Once the gloves come off,
That's super funny, man. I had listened to your bands before I knew you, and now have we become friends and hang out, and I get to sit down here and watch you do what you do and work with you and stuff. Like, same way, just being around. How have you guys met? This is a story I don't know.
But that's
how
similar
you two
story.
know each other.
Sure.
I remember
Craigslist. personal ads.
Misconnections.
Right. Yeah. I saw you. You were thumbing through the emo albums.
Oh, that could have been either of us.
Right. You were wearing a Promise Ring T-shirt and Diesel jeans. I was wearing the same thing.
I figured that's what it was.
And that's it.
I assumed that was it, man.
Yep.
No, same thing though, Joe. Like I remember going to, and Jeremy, I think I told you this on one of our podcasts that we did.
Oh yeah, check out Brad's podcast, which I was a guest on not once but twice because I just run my mouth so goddamn much.
But like I remember going to Cheapo and buying Attention CDs. Like I picked up a couple of them that way.
I thought you were gonna say Bone Thugs and Harmony, but okay.
Also, Bone Thugs.
Yeah, right.
You didn't let him finish. Right?
Yeah, my bad. I'll let you finish.
But then I think the first time I saw Attention play was Big V's. I think it was you guys in a line and maybe Self-Evident or somebody like that.
Sure.
Something to that effect.
Sounds right.
Or Claire de Lune or somebody in that like Blue Worm.
We did
world.
that same show at every bar in town.
Right.
Probably. Yep.
But that was kind of that. Like I had your records. I saw you guys play here and there. Listened to it all the time, but didn't know you at all.
Sure.
And then it was like a weird, like kind of out of the blue thing of like Jonah was coming to town. So here we go full circle again.
Jonah the Brit. Yeah, he's the bridge in this one.
And I remember shooting you a message about something, and then we were just like, okay, cool. Let's like get together and talk about some stuff. And we went to the Leaning Tower.
Right.
I think Karin was there too, if I remember right.
Yep.
You and Karin.
Plug Leaning Tower Pizza. Excellent pizza place.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Worked there for a short time. I was a horrible employee, as you could imagine.
That's why it was a short time.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that was like we ended up hanging out that night, just talking about music and stuff. And before long, I was just like at Attention rehearsal.
Yeah, right. You just had a set of keys. All right, dude. 6:30 practice.
But that was in when you still had the little side room there where you were recording.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we had the old Semisonic room.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Chris was Chris and Berger were still in the band.
Right.
Where was that?
City Sound.
City Sound, the Glenwood one.
Glenwood, yeah.
Oh yeah. Gotcha.
Semisonic had
Been in and out of there a few
space and
times.
cleaned it up. Yeah. I've been in almost all those buildings except the new one.
Yeah. When it's so funny. I had listened to Gratitude. It was like a Gratitude fan because again, it was in like that was my kind of era.
It was on your Xbox. Or
yeah.
whatever?
Right. No, not my. I heard you guys on like a compilation of some kind or something like that. And anyway, so like I knew who you were, and then later down the road, my buddy Matt had told me about this band called Attention.
Great band.
He knew Bob.
Oh, sorry, what? Yep.
He knew Bob in like San Diego.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, this guy I know, Bob. This is his band from Minneapolis. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is a cool band. Kind of put it away again. And then when I was, looking for my band to make our first album, we were like finding producers. And I found you, and I didn't put together that you were Gratitude
same guy or whatever.
Attention guy until,
Why would you? California band, Minnesota band, right?
I was just like,
right.
Either of those, man. Or even Attention, though. Like, I didn't, until after we met, realize that you were the Attention guy also.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, I know this band, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny how that works. It's like I was thinking about similar story like with Perner. And like, I didn't know Dave when I moved to Minneapolis. I loved Soul Asylum.
Right.
And, I remember I don't know for sure, but the way I remember it, I think I showed Evan Bakke, our friend.
He's probably due for a phone call right now.
Yeah, right. He usually calls right around now. But I think I showed Soul Asylum to him for the first time. Like we were working on an Attention record and just kind of scrolling through tunes on YouTube, and somehow like just different aesthetics and things came up, and I was like talking about Soul Asylum, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm not hip" or whatever. I was just like, "What?"
Wow.
So
how do
like,
you even like not?
I don't know.
How are you not exposed to that in your lifetime?
Evan, just a little bit, his musical tastes are just a little different or whatever. It wasn't really a rock guy as much or whatever growing up. But anyway, so I showed him a ton of Soul Asylum shit. He loved it. And we were, like I said, we were talking about aesthetics for records and songwriting. And I showed him a handful of videos, and I specifically remember this, and him being like, dude, we got to get you and this Dave dude together. Like, if that would be cool. Like, you guys would make sense together or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, man,
that would be cool. Sure,
right.
yeah.
And then, so it's just, it's a funny, it's kind of similar story. Like, now me and Dave are bros or whatever. And excuse me. It's just funny to think, like, I specifically remember that day of being like, oh, man, you have never heard of Soul Asylum? Like, watch this video, listen to this song, whatever. And,
wow.
Now I'm playing in that band. It's weird. It's weird how the circle of rock is sometimes.
Yeah, music. I mean, not just like, this city is one thing, and there's definitely a lot of that goes on for those of us who have been here for this long, where, you knew this person or you didn't know this person, and all of a sudden you're like in a band with them or whatever, they're making a record. Or you crossed paths how many years ago and didn't really know it or whatever. But I feel like even, the whole like gratitude thing when you guys were on Velvet Hammer, and like that was the guy who ran that label is the guy who gave me my start.
Right, you worked there. Had you still been there, we would have met then, because you would have worked on the Gratitude album or whatever. Right.
I was reading about this today. There's a name for it that escapes me right now, but it literally, like, the short version of it is that, like, time is all predetermined and everything that could happen has already happened, and it all exists in a fourth dimension. It's insane, dude.
Whoa,
yes.
man.
I don't know what you just said.
Insane.
Pass me some of whatever you just said, man. Oh, I wanted to
shout out to Alyssa. She was listening to some Attention the other day.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Alyssa, she was.
Oh,
I
man.
think she's got a.
I didn't want to let that go by.
Tattered Youth video.
Oh, yeah?
I believe
she used to come to some shows.
Did Alyssa come to a show with a very pregnant stomach and we autographed her T-shirt?
Yes.
That Alyssa,
yes,
I believe.
That Alyssa. Yep.
Right on. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for listening. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't want to let that one go by.
Sidebar about the Perner Baki story, that is true, and I just thought of. So I'm telling him, go back to that. Like, I'm showing him Soul Asylum. Oh, cool, blah blah blah. Yeah, you guys should get together. That'd be awesome. A year later or something, I'm talking to Evan. I still don't know Dave. Still haven't met those guys. This is however many years ago. And Evan's like, oh, man, I'm making a record over at Perner's house. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, so Justin, who was in Soul Asylum for a while, was making a record with Max from Eve 6. Are you an Eve 6 fan?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I thought had
for
the
some
first.
reason
Actually,
I thought you were. Yeah, I don't know.
No, the first album was great. The second album I liked even better.
Right. Justin and Max decided to make a record together. Evan knew Justin. Perner was out of town. Justin was kind of like took over Perner's house and just made a record there. But anyway, so here I was telling Evan about Perner, blah blah blah. I still haven't met this dude, whatever. Now Evan's over. I remember being like kind of jealous, like, what the fuck, you're working over at Perner's house? Like, how the hell does that happen? But anyway, and now now I gotta go to Perner's house twice a week. But it's just funny how that shit works, man.
Shout out to Zach's Rust, who calls this Bus Full of Dudes episode 2.
Yeah, Bus Full of Dudes was coined. I'll tell you, I'll let you in on this one, Joe.
That's great.
Going back to the early days, Zach and I toured a lot together in the early days and had bands that existed at the same time. When I moved up to Minneapolis, I came up here in a van, an old brown van. I don't know what year. 80-something, old school Ford club wagon, rusty. It had belonged to many bands prior to me. It was old when I got it. I got it from Texas to here, drove it here for a while. It was the old Compound Red van. Ended up selling it to Zach for like $500, $700. I don't know, maybe $1,000. I don't know. They then decided, cool, we got a van, we can go on tour. Put a little trailer on it, and they put two bands worth of dudes, 2 bands worth of gear in a little tiny trailer into this barely hanging on van, and decided to take it on a tour, and made it as far as they made it until they threw a rod. And like they had to get home. But I believe that's when like bus full of dudes really was first coined, because like they had a bus full of dudes in that van. Like just like there was too many people, and like I remember hearing stories of one of the dudes, Chuck Taylor's, literally melted to the doghouse because the engine was getting so hot going up hills and stuff. Like too many people, too much weight. The van was tired. I had literally taped Remo drumhead boxes all down over the back quarters and the floors so the exhaust wouldn't just come through the rust holes. Like you could like, I remember the Gloria record touring in that van for a while. Like you could, and we did, all smoke in any part of that van while going down the road. And if you didn't have an ashtray, you could just lift up a corner of the Remo box and ash that shit right out onto the highway, because you could look out and like see the highway whizzing by. Yeah, they nicknamed that van Chick Poop.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said he died in Benson, North Carolina.
Yeah, and they had to figure out, like, and this is old days, like, where no one had money.
Yeah.
People didn't have credit cards. It was like, call mom. Like, we got to get home from here.
Yeah.
The rich kids, I don't know if there was any rich kids. I don't think anyone got on a plane.
Yeah.
It was like Greyhound,
Woof.
rent something else. They had a good friend whose name I probably shouldn't disclose. I'll leave it up to Zach, who worked for U-Haul. So he was ripping U-Haul off left and right. Oh, I need to borrow a truck, and then just do whatever he wanted and leave it somewhere, and you know, take a trailer and give it to a band for a tour and report it stolen and figure it out later and shit. But yeah, they took Chick Poop on the road and rode it hard and didn't put it away wet. They left it on the side of the road. I think like scratched the VIN plate off and like, okay, run. You know, right.
Dude, our first van, we got it to our place.
First van. That's
First
a good
van.
story.
It's short. Went to go get extra keys made for everybody because we had a show that
I knew
night.
you then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You were all
yeah.
pumped. We bought a van.
Yeah, we
band
finally
fund.
got it.
We
We're
put
getting
some
a
money
fucking
in.
van.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
I
Yeah,
lived
we're
like
getting a
down
van,
the street
dude.
from you at that point.
Yep.
too. I
Bro, we
remember
drove
this.
it to the Ace Hardware that was no more than, I don't know, 8 blocks away. And on the way home, blew a rod, man. Like, straight up. Boom.
Ouch.
Just like that.
Ouch.
And we paid a couple $100 for that van. So
I
what'd you
owned the
expect?
band van for a while. I've owned a few vans in my day. I don't miss that. I was so happy when me and Malmberg started playing together that he also owned a van, and I was somehow able to pass the torch. Like,
Oh, man.
you
yeah.
can be the van guy, and he was
Yep.
okay with it, and I was like, you're okay with it? Yes. You know, like, I'm out. I dumped my van right away. He got out as soon as he could too, and then we like bought a community band van that
Right.
I ended up giving away basically at the end of the band.
My high school band, Mike Taylor, he bought a van because we did like regional 4 or 5 day stretches, you know, like as I could get away with my parents because they wouldn't allow me shit. But he bought a sick conversion, like new power leather bed and all that. We felt like
That's what I had.
it was like,
Yeah.
yo, we're going on tour. We got, you know,
I
what
worked
mean?
my way up
in
to
high
that.
school.
We had
Oh,
a couple cargo vans, and I worked my way up to a nice conversion van. Had the extra extended top, had the captain's
Yep,
chairs,
same
had a little
deal.
TV up
Yep.
in the top.
Oh man,
We had a
the lights up
PlayStation.
there,
Yeah, the little like
Dim
limo
lights,
lights with
yeah.
the little switches and the
And
woodwork.
then the back guy was the
You in
power.
that van? The old green van?
Yep.
The Shadow.
Yep.
And then Malmberg had also a very nice conversion van. So we were living that conversion van life for a little while.
Van life. What
And
a
you
thing.
can dream and you can pretend and you can say it's almost as nice as a bus because you haven't toured in a bus yet.
Right. I tell you what, man. As a young kid though, that feels like a bus.
It is nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Versus being, on a bench or whatever and like trying to sleep with your head bouncing off the window or whatever.
I mean, I ended up doing like genuine passenger van tours later on in life, and it was like, man, I started out of the gate too hot. Because having
Too
to go
nice.
back to that was
Right.
not cool.
Yeah.
Or not back, but like down to that.
I was pretty spoiled. I mean, the first real touring I was doing, this dude Jamie Wolford was in the band. His parents always kept us pretty nice. Like we started off with a pretty sketchy Dodge van, and as soon as his parents realized, like, oh, these kids are really gonna continue to do this, and like they're driving all the way to Los Angeles and back, like, let's put them in a safe van and trailer. And they like bought us like
Sick.
a new van and trailer. They're like, if you're gonna do this, we're not gonna put you out here in some rust bucket. So
Right.
Jamie's parents had a little bit of money and set him up with maybe it wasn't brand new, but it was like we had a van that had 10,000 miles on it, so it was like pretty much was brand new, and we were definitely lucky. But that was cool of them. I remember them specifically being like, "You're not going to college, which means we're saving money there, and you seem pretty serious about this, so we're
That is
we're
awesome.
gonna let you be safe about it. This is gonna be how we're gonna help you. Here's
Yeah.
I don't know what a van and trailer costs, but it ain't cheap.
What year was it? Ballpark me.
97,
Yeah, I mean that's
98.
a new one.
New, yeah, or like I said, maybe 10,000
Right.
miles on. Like,
Yeah, okay. So even used though, a van, I mean that's and a trailer. That's not nothing. I would say
trailer was
used
brand
even.
new.
You're probably talking
trailer was nice and new.
10,000 miles. You're probably talking 20 to 25
Yeah,
grand.
right. I
Dude.
mean, they probably put like 30,000 into a van and trailer.
Yeah,
like,
right.
All right, if you guys are really gonna do this, here you go.
Yeah.
They helped us put a real loft in the back so we could lay down and it was comfortable. And
Zach's
yeah, the
talking
air
about his
conditioning.
first tour with Animal Chin.
that's who I'm talking about.
Oh,
Animal
that's
Chin and
yeah.
Jamie Wolford. Yep.
Yeah, Jackknife Willie's brand new van and trailer.
Oh yeah, Zach did a little early guitar teching, and I believe Andy Gruen was the spotter
That's what he says.
who was doing the old keep her coming, keep her coming, keep her coming, crunch. And Jamie was pissed.
Understandably.
My biggest, and this is a good story, like your biggest rookie mistake on the road. I'll answer mine right now because this is the story, and it also pertains to Jamie. Before we had that nice new van, like I said, we had this old blue Dodge van, and it was like I had just joined their band, pretty new to the thing. I think I've told the story to maybe Brad or something. I'm driving overnight shift. I don't know where we're touring or whatever, but I know we're coming into St. Louis. I was taking the overnight shift or the morning shift. I remember the sun came up on my shift, whatever that was, driving from wherever we were.
I know that shift.
That's a tough shift
yeah,
sometimes.
bro.
But so here we are. We're rolling into St. Louis. My first real touring I'm doing. 3-piece band. We're in the van. I'm tired. Sun's up. I'm rolling into St. Louis. I'm looking at the arch. I've never been to St. Louis before. I've never been like, it's kind of like one of those like first real, probably maybe even first real overnight drive, like
Right.
on the road. Here we are. We're rolling to St. Louis. We're playing with so-and-so today. And I'm looking at the arch or whatever, and as I'm like doing a look and turn, I kind of drifted and I nipped the curb on the passenger side, and both tires blew, front and back.
Bummer.
So it wasn't even like you could throw a spare on.
Yeah,
It was just
keep
like,
moving.
fuck. And those guys were asleep in the loft or whatever, and they boom, 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 Jamie wakes up, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. The curb just jumped out at me, man. But yeah, and I remember just feeling like such a clown, just like, oh fuck, I'm looking at the arch and I'm half asleep and whatever, and I bing, and it blew 2 tires and cost whatever, $400 or whatever. But again, and thank God bless him, his parents, and he had that credit card. And a lot of bands, you're sunk, you're fucked.
Yeah,
you don't have
that's
any money.
it.
Like
Yep.
he had that get out of jail free. Like, okay, here comes AAA.
The emergency move if you need it.
Here's the card. We got the cell phone. This is before, like, you could have a cell phone, but you're going to get home and pay like a big bill because you
Yeah.
used a cell phone
Right.
or whatever.
You get 30 minutes a month or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then, dude, I got classic stories about that. And then Jamie started dating a girl from Detroit that he met on tour, and started using that cell phone. I think he's told these stories too, but started using that parent's cell phone, and like, after the gig, calling the girl back in Detroit and doing the thing when you're young and you're on the phone all goddamn night until it's like we're rolling out of the house in the morning. This fool is like, oh, I should probably go shower.
How'd that phone bill look?
It was like thousands,
Oh,
and
man.
it was a big problem. I remember that. Yeah.
Man.
Two things jumped out at me during this whole conversation. It's funny you mentioned Compound Red because I was actually going to mention them to you. I just
Love those guys.
went down a rabbit hole the other day.
Did a
I
big
just
tour with the
listened to
Gloria
them
record and
all
Compound
day.
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't listened in a long time, and
Yeah.
I don't know what sparked it, but yeah,
I knew them best when they had the last singer, Greg, because it kind of like became popular with the first guy whose name now escapes me, John. And then he bailed, and Greg became the singer, and Gloria record toured with them. Gloria record was like, we were like, cousins or whatever. Like when we got on the road, those guys are just real sweetheart dudes, whatever.
yeah,
Had a good
really
time
cool
with those
band.
dudes. Cool
Uh,
band.
Other thing that jumped out is Eve 6. And one of the best Twitter follows that there is.
That's when he said Eve 6, like that's what came
He's been out of control lately. He's been
Unreal.
throwing a lot of
Full on.
weird heat around, and I gotta say that there was a couple Soul Asylum mentions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they were both like, at least the two that I saw, like, he's buried a few people. Like, said some very mean things. He said cool things about Soul Asylum, cool things about Perner, so I was stoked.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I remember reading, which was like, I just got a kick out of it because totally believe it and made sense to me. It was like, one of them was like, I was once sitting with a guy from Soul Asylum, obviously referring to Pern, and he was like, and Ryan Adams came up to him and was begging him to let him produce the next album, like let me produce the next Soul Asylum album. And he was like, Perner just looked up and goes, I don't need some young fuck to teach me about how to record tape. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been doing what you were doing way before you know what I mean? Like, just so classic. Like, you're going to show me how to do what I've been doing since 1983, kid? Get the hell out of here. You know?
That's fucking, to be able to look at Ryan Adams and be like,
yeah.
say that.
I don't need some young punk to teach me how to record on a tape. Get out of here.
God.
You know?
That's a great story.
Yeah, Max has been going bananas on Twitter lately.
And the cool thing for them, too, is, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Velocity Records, which was kind of an upstart label, 2007, 8, 9 kind of time frame. They're back as part of Equal Vision, and like they signed Thursday. They're going to do these like Thursday reissues and like live albums.
I did see something about that. That's cool.
Who else was there? They signed like 10 bands out of the gate, but one of them, and kind of the oddball in the whole thing, is Eve 6. And they've got a new EP coming out like in May or something, and a full length to follow. So here's to the night.
I never really hung with that dude or those guys at all, but we had some weird. Gratitude had a show at Chain Reaction in Anaheim, and just like randomly out of nowhere, day of show, maybe even like we're already loading in, like kind of early loading or whatever. John, who was the dude who ran Chain Reaction, came out to Jonah. They had been friends for a long time. He's like, dude, got a weird one here. Got to run it by you. Like, just got a call from Eve 6's management, and they like basically like offered money to be on the show tonight. Like, they just want to play a show tonight. And we're just kind of like, where do we put them? It's like, you can literally put them wherever you want. Put them first, second, third. Like, they don't care. They just want to come down. And like how much shit do they got? I'm like, I don't know. And we're just like, fuck it, put them on. And so they came down and like opened for Gratitude.
Wow.
That's
put them like
awesome.
mid show. I remember it
Where
being
was
like
that?
Chain Reaction.
Okay.
I remember being kind of like, what the hell? Because Max at the time had like this big fro.
Yep.
And didn't play any bass. Just sang the whole night. And they had like someone else who played bass, and they were a 4-piece. But I remember watching it and being like, weird. They had this big hit and whatever, and now they're just like, hey, we want to, like, I don't know if they were getting ready to do something or they just wanted to do like a sneak on, but it was literally like, hey, can we be on your show like tonight? Like, we'll head down there like right now.
Weird.
Yeah.
And I think it was even like, there's like $1,000 in it for you guys. And we're just like, that's pizza and beer for everyone tonight. Like, all right, you know, like, yeah. So
doesn't hurt to like.
that's my
they had a
Eve6
hit.
story.
Should
You
we
know
throw
what I mean?
that
To
out
put
Yeah,
there?
that was
on
way
Twitter.
after Hard in the Blender and all.
Yeah.
Like, they, you know, I don't know what the deal was.
I
But
really liked that. So was it Horoscope was the second record? I liked the first record too, but I really like got into Horoscope.
yeah, I don't know much about
Still
it.
listen to that.
I know
record,
that.
as a matter of fact.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
We should throw that story at him on Twitter and see what happens.
Dude, I don't know that
Yeah,
you want
he
to like
might
get
burn me
mixed
down,
up in
man.
his
Yeah,
Twitter
exactly.
game,
I'm
man.
afraid
That
of
seems
getting caught in the crossfire.
foolish.
Soul Asylum's gotten out really well so far. I've seen him bury a couple dudes that I've like met who are pretty nice guys on the road who I'm like, ooh man, I'm sure you're reading this shit too, and you're like, damn it, he said me, and he fucked me up.
Yeah.
Making fun of the way dudes dress and like the ways, you know, certain people have said something like, I don't know, he's let some behind the curtain shit out, I think, as well. So
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stay out of his way.
son.
I love everything he's done. Great songwriter, great guy. Love him, love him, love him, love him.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Why don't you come on the show, dog?
We'll call it Eve 7. I'll join tomorrow.
Oh shit.
Anyway, so where does that leave us? Who you guys both do a question? Did you do no?
I think we just did
We
one
just
so
got
far.
into the weeds
2
on
hours
a
on
question.
one.
Yeah, man. Well, we had
Where-
some.
some
We had a
great
bunch of
fan
user
questions, right?
questions.
Diane
We
has
got
a
people
question.
hanging out right now, but everybody's just listening to the
Well,
stories.
that's cool.
Into the stories.
How we doing? It's like what?
9:30.
9:30. Yeah, so we got another 30 to go. We'll keep it rolling. We're feeling good. Do we want to just bust out another question? You got any on your list that you like?
I
Joe?
got one that I think is.
Okay.
I would like
If
to
you-
know
if you're feeling like you're ready for it.
from you guys. Yeah, and it's not. It doesn't have to be a long one either. I think we probably get through this one pretty
I got a
quick.
question. Can I?
Yeah. Absolutely. So what
You know
I'm,
what I'm saying?
So what I'm
I
gonna
ain't
do-
playing.
Yeah. So I guess Brad, we'll start with you. I want to
Might not
know.
get to Jeremy.
I want to know. Hey, come to me. I want to know your favorite musical discovery from 2020. 2020 sucked. This year kind of sucks too. Everything sucks. So like thinking back on some like 2020, and I don't necessarily mean like I uncovered this in 2020. I just mean like something that like you got. So my example is such that like something I really, really just dove into, and it wasn't like I didn't know about it, but like it just took that time for like the right time for it to hit in my life, I guess, is kind of what I'm saying. So
I think I might have a couple things to touch on with this one.
Hit me with all those.
So every year, at the end of the year, I make like a best of 2020 list and Spotify playlist. Not just the generic one they make, but like the one that I really like is true to me, what I'm super into for the year.
Yeah, you make your own.
Yeah. So I would say, and I remember texting Jeremy about this probably not long after the record came out. So my first thing I'll bring up is that new Not a Surf record.
Oh,
I remember talking to you about this.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just now thought about the fact that you texted me about that about, a year ago or so. I should check that out. I'll check that out.
Here's your reminder.
Oh, shit. That's so, like, on brand, dude. I love it. It
is.
Oh, did you text me
Forgot
like
about
6
that
or
text.
7 months
like,
ago?
Oh, yeah, shit, he did mention
I'll
that.
hit you back. Don't
gotta
worry.
check
Yeah,
that
my
out.
bad.
Damn it.
But no,
I like Not a Surf, though.
Yeah,
I really
and
do.
it's for them to be at this point in their career and put out a record like this is pretty unreal. It's called Never Not Together, and I don't know. It's just like someone played it at work one day, like just like Fridays when stuff comes out, everybody just plays new stuff. Back when we worked in our office, but I remember it came on and I was like, "Is this Not a Surf?" Like. Not having any idea that it was like...
What was the one that they had where they kind of really first reinvented themselves and it was like, okay, they're more than just a popular band? You remember the title? There was like one that came out where kind of broke through to like the indie rockers, like, oh shit, Not a Surf is not...
Was it Let Go?
No, I would remember the name of the album. I don't think it was Let Go.
There was...
I don't know.
There was High Low. There was a Proximity Effect.
Might have been Proximity Effect.
There was Lucky, 2008.
No, before that.
The Weight is a Gift.
Must be Proximity Effect. What year was that?
That was...
I don't know.
Oh, no, that was actually 98.
Huh.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
We'll get
remember
there.
like all of a sudden there was an album that came out and it was like they went from kind of that alternative 90 120 minutes or whatever band
Little bit
that had
dark.
popular. Popular was like the video.
Yep.
I think that was the only thing I really heard of. And then all of a sudden they had this new record out. It was just like, oh shit, man. Yeah. I just remember they turned a corner or something.
Yeah, for
cool
sure.
band. And I have not checked out that record. I need to do that.
Yeah, it sounds incrable. The songwriting
Maybe next year.
really,
Yeah, I get
really,
to
yeah, maybe that was next
I'll
year.
time the next one's out.
But yeah, that was something that really, it's a bright spot of 2020 musically for me, and it forced me to go back and listen to pretty much all their old stuff too again, and kind of get refamiliar.
I love when that happens.
It's like you just throw the whole
Great.
discography on shuffle, and it's like all makes sense. Similar type of thing. And Jeremy, another thing I was going to mention to you, the new Chamberlain album. Did you know Chamberlain put out a new record?
I did not.
It's amazing.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Why don't you text him about
me
it?
that in 6 months. I would love to. Yeah, I mean, Chamberlain was awesome. I wonder if is it Charlie in the band? Do you know? I got nothing but respect for Charlie. So Charlie was in Chamberlain, then later played drums in New End Original. I then got tasked with replacing Charlie after he left New End Original and had to learn, the record he played on pretty much verbatim. I was certainly allowed to do my thing, but I mean, whether it's self-imposed or not, like this is good something to talk about, I guess. Like, if I'm going to learn someone else's stuff, like before I'm going to figure out how and when and where, I might try to impose a little bit of my thing. I feel like I got to learn their thing verbatim.
Right.
So like I had to learn his drum fills, all of them, like some of them were very signature or whatever. And he's a good drummer, better drummer than I was at the time. So being forced to learn that album made me a better drummer at the time. So I got a lot of respect for Charlie. I've never really met him. He probably doesn't, it's one of those weird things where it's like, hey man, we were in the same band.
Not at the
same time. And like I ended up moving into your old room or whatever, so I was like the other dude. It was so funny, man. When Jealous Sound played the last couple Texas shows, I had met Scott a bunch of times or whatever, but like we were never really close or whatever. And I knew Scott knew that me and Norman were close. I knew Scott knew that I was in New End after him and Charlie had left New End. So whatever, we were all chatting or whatever when we first got there, and Garrett came up. Garrett's super sweet. Like I met Garrett a couple times on tour. We've never been close, but every time, I don't know, like we just have some weird connection. Could be weed, to be honest.
That's not that weird of a connection, bro.
To just be dead ass honest. But like, he'd roll up and always be like, JT, man, good to see you, blah, 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 and big hug, and got something for you, and slip me something or whatever. So we were shooting the shit and catching up, and Scott was standing there, and me and Scott are both he's tall too, kind of awkwardly tall, and he just wasn't saying much, and he just kind of had this weird look. I don't know if he had something going on, and I was thinking like, maybe he didn't remember who I was or whatever, so I reintroduced myself, and I was just like, hey man, I'm JT, we were in the same band, just not at the same time or whatever, and Garrett looked over as he was puffing on a J as we were standing in San Francisco and handed it to me and looked at Scott and just blew it out and went, awkward. And I just thought it was super funny. Awkward.
Oh, man.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, I'll have to check out the Chamberlain record.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good.
Nice. Shouts to the Chamberlain.
Do you have a musical discovery of 2020? A 2020 discovery?
It's a great question.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
It's a great question. I don't know.
My name is Hove.
I don't know.
I feel like,
I don't know what
you
my
obviously
answer
listen
is.
to plenty of music, but like,
Did I discover a new artist?
when
No.
you're
I don't know if I did.
I feel like when you're busy working, you had the Jonah project going on, and obviously SA, you guys were touring and before
the crash,
before
sure.
the stuff going on and all that. So like, I feel like when you're deep in stuff, sometimes, you don't, not you personally, but in general.
Yeah, I listen to a little bit of
yeah.
music, right? I also, just in general, I will be honest and say that I'm never really chasing or hunting down new music. I get turned on to it, and I do like, Tidal is often up, and I find my go-tos, and sometimes you rabbit hole off or YouTube or whatever, but I don't dig as much as I should. I often, and hopefully am working on something, and when I am, I don't want to dig too much. It's weird, like,
Right.
even though you would dig and be able to reference from new sounds, like, I get worried about that. I don't know. Like, I just kind of like to just focus on what I'm working on, and whatever referencing I'm doing, I try to keep in my own head. I feel like if I start listening to something too much, I'm going to just start trying to make that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't necessarily chase down new music. So I don't know if I had a new musical, like, artist or act. I didn't make one.
Anything.
Just trying to think.
Mine were decades old.
Yeah,
that I
true.
just kind of rediscovered.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what I'm saying.
That's
like
true.
something that, yes.
Right. You
right.
reconnected with it.
Right.
I don't know. I think, if anything, and not that it's a discovery or whatever, but like, I think what now has become essentially a forced 1 year off of touring has really finally allowed me to focus on the fact that I have this home studio. And I wouldn't call that a discovery, but it was like, I've had it for a couple of years now. I've done a little bit of work here, but it's always, everything is kind of in little sprinkles, because it's like, okay, well, I got this 2-day thing I'm going to do at home, and then we're going to go fly out for the weekend, and then I'm back, and there's a rehearsal, and then we fly for another weekend, and then I'm back, and then we're going to go on tour for a while. There's always other things happening. So this, when the touring thing shut down, and that was kind of out of the equation. We even took a break from rehearsal and everything and just kind of went into full-on lockdown for a while. And then the Jonah record popped up. It was like, okay, well, shit, here we go. I've built a home studio to kind of be a one-man operation where I can record myself playing drums or guitars or bass or whatever and mix and do the whole thing. And now I have a real record with a bunch of songs and a real project to do that with. And I think the discovery or whatever was just like, all right, I built this thing and I've been kind of putzing with it, but now can I really go run it and like use it as the machine it was designed to be or whatever, and doing it and feeling successful with it and being like, maybe discovering like my evil plan is working, you know what I mean? And like, and getting that one, you know, like I said, I've done some have some artists over here, I've done some tracking here, I've done some mixing here, but to do a full record like that I really was in charge of production, not just a quick recording or a quick mix this thing, or this is more like full fingerprint, take as long as I want, it's going to be what it's going to be. Seeing that work and then making me go like, get excited, like, all right, the next one's going to be even better. This works here. I can record drums down here. I can get away with this. I, you know, decided that the room's too dead, so I got to put this wood on the walls. Like, the shit's evolving, and I'm feeling good about that. I think that was a discovery of like, hey, this is really going to work. And it's the guy who helped me build this place was over here the other day. I had Joe put up an Instagram video. We were doing some sonic testing of the speakers and shooting the room, and we were talking about stuff, and just in conversation I mentioned to him, and I guess just maybe when I said it out loud to him, it kind of registered in my brain. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, hey, the studio paid for itself this year. Like, and I don't mean like this year it hit the mark where it's now paid for itself. Like, it paid for itself this year. Like, whatever I made this year covered what it cost to do it. So like in this 1 year, I paid myself back for this build out or whatever. If I didn't take a profit, however you want to do the math, I made that money back working down here in 1 year.
You didn't build a sweet room and then do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Right. Or like, man, yeah, the basement's cool. It took me 14 years to pay off the room or whatever. And it's like, you know, and I hadn't really done the math before, so, you know, maybe it had already kind of paid for itself. But if it hadn't, it damn sure did this year. Just, you know, just doing what it's supposed to do. So, God bless it for that. You know.
So, sort of to that end, do you have like a producer and/or an engineer or something in a 2020 that you got way into, or are you just like off of it altogether? Because I feel like often when we talk, it's like, oh, here's kind of what I'm listening to.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm constantly pecking at bits of information, mostly on YouTube, about engineering and producing. I'm always listening and whatever, but I think this last year for me has been, I don't know, it's tough to say. I feel like I've done how am I trying to put this? This last year was a little bit less, I think I got it, about the discovery factor for me. And I think having this much time available and the fact that the studio is here, I think this was a more of a year of application, really. Like, I think that's true. Like, I've been fucking on YouTube for years, and I've been chipping away at building this place for years and listening to records and figuring out how to kick drum and snare drum does shit or whatever. And I think this year was kind of like, I've done a lot of the book work or whatever, you know, like taking a lot of the courses, and now it's time to put some of this shit into action and see what's what. And so I think maybe that's my discovery, is that this year was the year of application and not discovery.
Nice.
Goddamn. Yeah, I mean, I had an album in my mind.
I don't know.
So.
I just answered the way, you know.
No, I feel that. That's really what I mean by it.
Yeah.
I mean, I for sure was thinking about an audible discovery, but like that's kind of why I worded it the way I did.
Sure. Yeah, I like it. Right. Whatever.
Otherwise, I would have said, "What was your favorite album?" or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, meaning discovery. We got some comments we should dive into, so I'll be quick about it. But Screamer by Third Eye Blind. I mean, yep, Steven is Steven, but dude's got tunes.
Dude's
got
I
tunes.
boycotted even deeper after Zach from Jimmy went out of his way.
I get it.
to say something, because Zach doesn't do that. You know, like for him to go out of his way to be like, hey, this guy sucks. Like, this dude must
I don't remember
really
the
suck.
wording of the tweet, but it was
I don't
like,
either, but
Stephen Jenkins from Third Eye Blind is a fucking prick.
Yeah,
No, I
and
think
like,
he called him an, I
something
just
like
said
that.
he's an
And
asshole.
Zach is not
like
that-
that was the tweet.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not that
It wasn't
personality.
like in response to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not that personality. Like, he doesn't flame up people like that. So
Yeah, it's all good.
Anyway, yeah, I
dude's got tunes, but album came out in 2019. I mean, late 2019, and I, whatever, it'll be around. And I eventually kind of.
I'll listen to it. Text me
giving
about
it
it
a
in
spin.
6 to 8 months.
Yeah, right. There's one song we've listened to a bit down here.
Oh, you showed me already.
Yeah, that bass line. Anyway. So a couple of comments. People were talking about how much everybody misses shows. Just straight up.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
feel like
yeah, word.
there are some positive rumblings. I don't know. No one knows what's going to happen, but there are some artists with some big summer plans that seem to think they're still going to have their summer plans. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Man, Brandy's talking about. She said she rediscovered a '90s Canadian indie band called The Lowest of the Low.
I'm not
That's
hip.
that's a deep. Anyone hip?
You know him, Brad?
I mean, we've been going about Glass Tiger and Brian Adams, but I do not know this Canadian.
I'm not hip.
All right.
We'll dig it up. We'll listen to it.
I mean, we talking about them.
I'm not hip.
Also some Pearl Jam, a lot of SA love. Diane said that 2020 was she's just saying it was music driven. Like learning about music, listening to it, and like learning to record and that sort of stuff. So that's along that lines of discovery,
gotta
like you were talking.
Replace the live show aspect with something.
Right.
Right. Fill in the blank, I guess. Right.
Yeah, everybody's just aching to do it.
Yeah, I've been trying to study. I mean, my internal studying has been just thinking about time and playing in time, and that's such a general statement and sounds so easy, but the nuance and the movement of what time is, and if
This
it's
is that fourth dimensional shit I was
this is
talking
some
about.
next level stuff, and like, it's one thing again. Going back to application, it starts with actually thinking you've unlocked or like you've understood something. Starts in your brain. Oh, whatever it is, like. Think about quarter notes and being able to play on the front and the back of the beat and what that means and how to actually place that and how to listen for it. You kind of mentally figure it out, or you think you do. And then it's like, okay, now you have to put it into your hands. If you go like, all right, bass line's really cool. Give me the same thing, but lay it back. Some people are like, okay, and they just play it again.
You're right.
And hope to God that you hear what you asked for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's a subtle ask.
Yeah.
Lay it back a little bit. That's not even like you're rushing. Put it in the back of the pocket, or
Mm-hmm.
that's a subtle ask. And I think the more you understand it, maybe the less subtle it is, or the more these increments. Whether it's a quarter note or an eighth note, or whether it's looking at a ruler and looking at an inch and seeing a quarter inch and a half inch, like the more you start to understand it, the more room there is to work with and go, oh, I can lay it back. I can lay it way back here versus like lay it back. What the hell are you talking about? Am I rushing? Am I dragging? Just tell me what to do. It's like I did. Yeah, I've been thinking about time and playing in time.
That's funny, man. I think that just keeps coming back to like that's why bass is fun right now, because it's a little bit of all that.
Yeah, and again, I gotta say I'm lucky in the fact that I'm thinking about and learning to play in time with Michael Bland,
Yeah.
who has impeccable time and
Good
impeccable
timekeeper.
pitch and can notice the most subtle shift and changes. So I'm lucky to kind of piggyback off of. He sets it up. He sets it up to be easy to feel. Okay,
Right.
we're gonna lay this back. You're rushing a little bit, man. It's like, oh, and then you start listening to him, who's rock solid, who's not gonna move. And if you really figure out how to listen and really hear it and hear him and yourself and the rest of the band and be able to figure out. Oh wow, I am leaning forward. I don't know, to hear the nuance. I guess that's the constant battle as a musician, to hear more nuance and to get your ear becomes that much more focused or refined, where those nuances become more and more important, and the more you hear it, the more you can't unhear it.
That's
guess,
good. That's what you're looking for. People are popping off in the chat.
Pop
Jennifer was
off,
talking
man.
about thanks for the stories earlier, the Soul Asylum stories. Everybody's been a fan of
Winkleman
the
is here.
stories.
Paul Winkleman,
Winkleman's in the house.
Mr. Paul, I'll tell you this, Joe. I've talked to Paul recently. Paul has been laying down some excellent woodworking. I saw a little cabinet that he made that was real tight. You saw it, Brad?
Yeah.
I was talking to Joe a couple weeks ago about maybe redesigning this rack behind me and building a low boy. I could build it myself. I saw Paul's cabinet and was just like, I think I'm going to hire Paul to make me a rack. I already talked to him. We were supposed to hook up last week, and I got busy. So I owe Paul a call. I'm going to have him come over here. But I'm going to have Paul make a new rack for the studio.
Nice.
Talk about full circle. And a quick mention for the people who don't know, Paul is a great drummer in town who is now cranking out awesome woodworking cabinets and doing shit and being awesome. But I met Paul when he was 15 years old, and I recorded his first thing he ever recorded, and have subsequently recorded 8 records with him over the last 10 plus years or whatever. And now he's gonna make a rack for my home studio, and the kid was like couldn't even drive to the goddamn studio the first time. That's cool, it's cool how shit like that works out or whatever. But
That is
I owe
cool.
you a call, Mr. P. Winkleman. I like to call him Sweet P. I owe you a call, and I do still want you to make this rack for the studio. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, well, we'll see it on screen hopefully soon.
Yeah, it'll be sitting back here. Yeah.
Pete Bowe's in the house. He says, blast from the past. The last live stream he saw with you was Through the Wire. It was
Oh,
an
wow.
Attention live stream.
Yeah, man. That's been, I don't know, how many years, Brad?
decade
11,
plus,
12?
yeah.
11, 12?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I look a lot older, huh?
Molly is showing her kids some good music. Guster, Soul Asylum,
Nice.
Craig Jarrett.
Okay.
Johnson?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with
I know
that.
Craig. I see him quite often.
Top 40 is always good too, Molly, as she says.
Nothing wrong with a little top 40.
I mean, pop music has its things.
Touching on Paul and his
Wait,
old
what?
well, this is gonna sound really weird.
You're touching on who now?
When Paul was 15.
Whoa!
Jeremy, do you remember Attention played The Myth? It's probably what? Billy Squire?
Billy Squire. Open for Billy Squire.
No. I think it was the Candlebox show.
Seriously? Oh, I remember the
Candlebox.
Candlebox.
I think it was
show.
Candlebox.
Yeah, we did also open for Billy Squire at Myth.
Yeah.
That's way cooler than Candlebox.
Yeah.
We saw you at the Candlebox.
We played with Candlebox,
We were
right? They
working
put us
like
on the
that
show,
week.
and part of putting us on the show was like, hey, we are going out of our way to give you unlimited guest lists.
Yep.
Please fill up your guests. They just wanted people at the show.
Yeah.
Candlebox was, at the time, no offense to Candlebox, not selling tickets at that venue.
Yeah.
So they threw us on, and it was like, call anyone, call everyone, tell everyone.
Yep.
And we all those guys came
Those guys
down.
all came, but I remember that was right after their first EP.
Right.
So you did that at Pound. I did the artwork for it.
Yeah.
And it was the same type of thing. It was almost worse than Lake Avenue's first record, where it's like, oh, we got a CD release show in like a few days.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
gave
at
you
least
like a
gave me like a
month
week.
or
Uh-oh.
We gave you
something.
like a week and a half.
No, we gave you a little time. Little time.
But I remember it wasn't Paul, it was Chris. It was just funny, like coming up to me to like pay me some money, and I was like, I don't want to charge you, but like,
I know.
Dad walks him up.
Oh, man.
And I was
That's
like,
funny.
One of my favorite things that would happen often over at the old studio, Pound in St. Paul, was I'd work with these young bands or whatever, and a couple of 2 days, whatever. We'd settle up at the end, and it would be like, all right, man, cool, so what do we owe you again? And like, even though we had talked about it plenty of times. Not that they were looking for a discount. I was like, oh, cool, so it's this much, all right. Be right back, or whatever. Literally like the merch box.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like fives.
Yep.
There's a 10, 5, 10. Ones. Like going through their merch and just being like, because, dude, not only had I was still in a band that still had a merch box
Right.
with fucking $700 in it or whatever. And I always felt so bad wiping out that merch box. But also, like,
It's a circle of life,
it's my job, man.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. And I'm already barely charging you enough, or not charging you enough anyway. But I remember always thinking it was like kind of funny. Like, okay, man, so here's your $500, and it would be like a stack like this tall. Like, ooh, I feel like I really made a ton of cash today. You know. Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, so that's how you kill 2 hours with no plan on a web.
That was, man, the people were up in here still talking. Alyssa Johannes, she said that's the Candlebox Attention Show was her daughter's first show.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. Alyssa, I remember Alyssa being at the garage. I remember signing, like I said, the T-shirt, probably to your daughter, who was not yet born.
I think it was the yellow headphones.
It was the yellow headphone shirt. I remember that picture pops up on my Facebook memories occasionally. Yeah. Those were the days. That's what our intro should be, Joe. It should be me and you singing that. And then like Brad pops up or somehow in the end and like, you know.
Oh man.
Does something.
I like these shows. We gotta see the people had a bunch of questions. We gotta try and collect those. Yeah, that was a great talk with the people, and we need to try and collect those.
Yeah, we're gonna keep the change up coming. And again, I don't want to force feed fake music through here to have a show. I'd rather just come up with a couple questions, hang out with each other, you know, podcast, do the open platform vibe like we just did tonight. I enjoy it. I think it's a good way to kill 2 hours, and I would much rather do that than, like I said, you know, create some weird session and go like, okay, now I'm, you know, EQing a snare drum just to give you 2 hours of content. Not into it, you know. Speaking of content, though, and speaking of stuff coming up, I don't think we have a time locked in yet, but Saturday, right? We can talk about it now.
Let's go.
Brad, you're invited if you want. I don't think Brad even knows about it yet. Brad knows about the concept. Doesn't know what's happening yet. But Saturday, we're going to have Nick Larson over here. Nick played drums in And We Danced. Plays drums in a band called Edward the Confessor right now, who I've done a little bit of work with. Also plays drums in a two-piece called Exactly No, who I've done a lot of work with. Actually, it was funny. I just put it away. Maybe I'll bring it out on Saturday. I've got the vinyl record for the most recent release that I did with them. We did some work over at Flowers, mixed it here. Nick's a great drummer. He's a fellow gear nerd. He's a bad influence when I need him to be. He's a good influence when I need him to be. I see something on Craigslist and call him up and go, fuck, should I buy this thing, man? And he goes, no. You know, 1974 was a bad year for these because of this. And he goes deep on the nerdery, and I go, thank you. Or sometimes I call him and go, hey, man, have you seen the, and he goes, you know, and he fills in the blank because he's already seen it on Craigslist or whatever. And I go, should I buy that? And he goes, if you don't buy it, I'm going to. And then it's like, fuck. Okay, well, I'll call you back. I got to call someone that's not the guy on Craigslist. But anyway, he's a great drummer. He's a gear nerd. He has done the homework and the research and has tried all of the different drum heads on the different shells and the combinations and the whats and whys of drum tuning. He's gone pretty far down the rabbit hole. We've talked about it a lot as I've recorded him over the years. He's played drums in projects that I've played in. I've produced records for projects that he's a part of. I have my kit here in the back of the room. We're going to have the camera set up back there. We are going to pull the drum heads off my drum set, top and bottom. I got all new stuff. I went to Cleaned Out Guitar Center, got everything I needed. Spent way too much money over there today, but I'm supporting what's left of local Guitar Center, which is no offense, but not much, man. Like, you know, I've never been a huge Guitar Center fan anyway. There are a couple other, you know, I really like to support Twin Town here in the cities. They're closed right now. I don't know if they would have had the drum heads I needed anyways. Also, Guitar Center is not far from my house. It is super convenient. That said, I've read some rumors that they're going out of business. I don't know if it's true or not, but the shit looks like it is. Yeah. Like, dude, it's shrinking even worse. Like, they literally were changing the bass section today to make it smaller because there's no basses. Ooh. There's like, I'm going to say
I'm waiting for that
I
liquidation.
would say maybe
sale.
there's 10 basses at Guitar Center.
Really?
10.
I'm waiting for
There's
that.
usually like
liquidation.
30
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. How many guitars were in there?
They still have some guitars, but it was
Selection's getting
depleted.
thin. Yeah.
And it just looks like they're either not able to restock the shelves or, well, it looks
Or
like they're
don't
not
want to
able to
restock the
restock the
shelves.
shelves
Yeah.
for one reason or another.
Mhm.
It was depressing. But anyway, I bought new snare heads, new tom heads, top and bottom. We're going to have Nick over here. We're going to rip off the old drum heads and put the new ones on. We're going to talk about just drum tuning, drum maintenance, getting ready to go into the studio, what it takes to get your drums set together. Just overall drum stuff. You know, a lot of drummers, a lot of really great drummers don't really know how to tune drums or, you know, obviously know how to pull the lugs out and take one drum head off and pop another one on, but there's a little bit more to it than that, you know, and Nick's into that. I'm into it too. He probably knows a little even more than I do about it. I kind of want to do a little bit of a hands-off thing and just kind of do the thing with him, let him discuss how and why he does it, the way he does it. I'll ask some questions along the way. Hopefully you guys will too. And we're going to do a long, I don't know if it'll be long or not, but we're going to do a Saturday afternoon deep dive on, you know, like I said, drum tuning, maintenance, preparation for whether it's the studio or tour, just, you know, general, this is what it takes to change the heads the right way and tune up a drum set and give it your best chance at sounding like $1 million in the studio. Nick's going to help us out with that. That's Saturday afternoon, midday sometime. We'll try to let you know a little bit ahead of time. We'll get a time locked in with Nick. That'll be a Saturday thing. That's the next thing on the plate. Next Tuesday, I don't know yet. Can't commit to what we're going to do. Maybe we'll have some vocals from Sam. We're putting no pressure on Sam. We want Sam to sing the vocals when and how he wants to, so they're as good as they can be. We got no reason to rush them. There's no one beating down our door waiting on anything. We want it to be the best it can be. So whenever he has not only the time but the inspiration to go give us the heat, we will patiently wait for the heat. Until then, we'll come up with some other stuff. So Saturday drums, next Tuesday question mark. Yeah, and again, let us know if you like this freestyle thing. We're going to keep the mixing going. We're going to keep some other stuff going. We're going to drop into another studio soon. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that comes with that. I'm not quite ready to let the cat out of the bag on that yet because a lot of moving parts, but new location, just for an episode. We're not leaving this location. We're not quite ready to buy the new headquarters studio building for the podcast in my new recording studio / something with a helicopter pad. something where we can park a couple different Teslas in a row and plug them in right next to each other.
Something small, but like
something small
nice.
But nice.
Yeah, something nice. Yeah, real homey.
You know, we're not quite ready to do that yet, but we are going to do some shooting at another studio that I'm fortunate enough to work out of here in town quite a bit, and I want to showcase that place. And you know, we're going to try to take you around the cities and show you some other rooms as well. But that is what's on our plate. That's where we're at right now. Let us know if you like these just talking shit episodes, because I kind of like them. I think that, you know, again, we're no rules, but maybe it's one of these a month, and the rest of the month is, you know, I don't know. We're just going to figure it out. I do want to start showcasing. We didn't do it this week, but I've been thinking about it. We're going to showcase one piece of gear an episode. I'll leave it up to the stream. It'll either be recording gear, guitar, bass, or drums, because I got a pile of it. So we'll let the stream pick. If it's recording gear, maybe I'll pull out a microphone that I enjoy. If it's guitar gear, it could be a guitar, it could be an amp, a pedal, drums, same thing. Whatever. We'll start doing that. We'll do like a piece of gear a week.
Awesome.
Just for a little, 5-minute talk about it type of thing.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think that wraps her up for tonight, right? Anything else anyone's got that they want to chat, say, do? No. Dunzo's got his hoodie. I love the fact that he has a hoodie that just says Dunzo on it now. To me,
you should pop yourself back on the screen. There you go.
Yeah. When your name is Dunzo and you're wearing a hoodie that says Dunzo on it, then you are a prime example, my friend, of a card-carrying member of the club. The Keep It Tight Club.